So earlier this year, I made a video about leaving Australia. And I did leave Australia. I want to talk to you about that because shit's getting real. Shit is getting sad, desperate, humiliating, degrading, and worrying. All of the above. I was overseas for 10 years and I came back to a mess. And I expressed this in my last video called I'm Leaving Australia. So let's just call this I'm Leaving Australia Part 2. And I want to tell you my experience, what has happened, where I'm at now, what I plan to do, what I hope to do, but the challenges that I have faced. And the challenges that you may face and that we're all facing. I mean, some of you are born lucky. Some of you have a fucking silver spoon in your mouth. Maybe you come from a rich family. Maybe you got lucky in a job. Maybe you married into wealth, right? Or maybe you just talked bullshit that got you to a certain point in your life. But there are a lot of people out there, most of you, who understand the issues that most of us have. We are not the 1%, right? And maybe we're not the 1%, we're still not the 5% or the 10%. The people who are living in their $4 million, $5 million, $10 million mansions in Sydney Harbour or Yarra or Toorak in Melbourne. We are the ones that have had to work our lives to get to where we are. And sadly, some of us are born into positions where it's even harder to get ahead. So I feel for everyone. And it's not just happening in Australia, it's happening everywhere in the world. But here, there is a particular problem. We have too many people coming in. We have a housing shortage. We have a job shortage. And our government isn't making anything easier. The taxes on cigarettes and alcohol are ridiculous. I am an ex-smoker, so look, I don't mind that in a sense that cigarettes cost $50 a packet, but a lot of people, especially a lot of disadvantaged people, are, people from lower class societies have problems. We face stronger issues than a lot of other people. There are reasons why certain people end up on the streets. There are reasons why certain people get addicted to drugs or alcohol or even cigarettes, something that you might not consider that bad. And generally, it's the lower class. And the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And it's freaking hard. When I came back to Melbourne, a lot of people criticized me. I said a couple of things about what I do in my life. But I didn't give you the full picture. And a lot of people judge me on things they don't know. I said I had a part-time job driving Uber. Yes, I did drive Uber part-time. I also had another job. A lot of people don't realize that. And they said, you can't live full-time on Uber. And look, you know what? You're right. You can't. During COVID, I was driving Uber full-time because my other job became redundant because of the industry I worked in. And I was stuck in a city and in a different country that I didn't want to be in or choose to be in and was locked in. But that's besides the point. What I was trying to make is that I have a job that pays me, almost $100,000 and I still struggle. It's my other job. I don't drive Uber anymore. When I attempted to relocate to the Sunshine Coast, yes, that was a bad idea. There was a rental crisis. I didn't realize how bad it was. But it's not just there, it's Australia-wide. And then I came to Melbourne and I tried to set up myself there. I went to a real estate agent. I went online. I applied for several properties. And by several, I mean like 30 or 40. And you know what I put in the application? I will pay a year up front in cash. You know what response I got? Nothing. Nothing at all. So what other people meant to do that don't have the ability to do that? And that's difficult. And one of the reasons that I was doing that was because I lived overseas for 10 years. Yes, I made a choice. I made a choice to go and live somewhere else. And then I came back, not by choice. I came back for a holiday and COVID happened, and then this country just shut its borders and said, no, you can't leave. Even though I lived somewhere for 10 years, they said, no, you can't leave. And that was unfair. That was disadvantage. And it left me in a place where I had no friends. I had no support system. And because I got a job driving Uber, because I was self-employed, I didn't even get money from the government. Anyway, all that aside, I did leave Australia. And I went overseas. I took several trips. I went to Asia for a couple of months. You know what? I really loved it there. The people were nice. It was cheap. The culture was abundant. And look, I will admit, my money went further there. And then I came back. Anyway, after my trip, I did come back to Australia. And then I left again. I went to Fiji, and then had a bit of clarity. And I had this plan envisioned, and so I booked a holiday. Well, not a holiday, I booked a flight to go to Europe, where I was living prior. Although this time I didn't have a visa. I was only allowed to stay for 90 days within the Schengen zone. I could stay in other countries, which I did visit. And I had an amazing trip. And while I was there, I looked into some opportunities, maybe some opportunities for my future. And look, I will admit, stuff was expensive there too. But there were certain things that made it different, that made opportunities different. So I explored Europe. I explored some of my heritage. I went back to Croatia, where my family and descendants are originally from, at least on one side of my family. And I explored my roots and the reasons why they left. And the reasons why they left was for better opportunities. They originally lived in a wine growing area. And in the 1920s, there was a plague that, if any of you know much about wine, had hit all of Europe and the rest of the world except Australia. And this destroyed all the vines. And where my family grew up in Korčula, Croatia, their vines were destroyed, their vineyards were ruined, and they couldn't make any money. And they were given an opportunity. My granddad had moved to New Zealand. Still very much similar to Australia, part of the Commonwealth. And back then, they could buy land for literally, you could buy acres of land and pay it off in a year. How much would that cost us now? It's sad. It's a sad reality. Anyway, I went back recently. I explored some of my heritage. But before going overseas, just after releasing this video, I'm leaving Australia, I got offered a job in Australia. And it was a very high-paying job. And I'm still working that job. And I did go away, and they were nice enough to let me take that time off. Only because, well, my friend owns the company, And life, a lot of the time, is about who you know, the opportunities you make, the impressions that you give. This friend didn't just give me a job for no reason. He gave me a job because he believed in me, and I believed in his idea. And I thought, you know what? If I don't take this opportunity, I would be stupid. Also, my whole life I'd spent being a bit of a nomad, and for that I paid the price. I paid the price that because when I came back, because I never got into the property market earlier in my life, I couldn't afford to when I came back. Even when one of my family members died and left me some money. Yes, that's sad because I lost someone. And, nothing is free. this isn't a handout. One of my family members died. It's a very sad situation. But that family member left me a little bit of money. And maybe enough money, I thought, to start a future. But what I sadly realized was, because I'd been away so long, and because I'd been working in a different sort of industry overseas, when I came back to Australia, I was unable to get a loan. And even with having the ability to afford a year up front rent, I still couldn't get a home. My brother gave me a place. So, is this the lucky country? And you know what? When one of our relatives passed away, they took some time off to quit work, as you would do. And now they have struggled to find a job. And they were gainfully employed for over 15 years, right? And to take some time off to grieve for your family, and then to come back and try to get a job again, only to realize you can't get a job with 15 years experience. That's not me, that's my brother, but I'm just saying, shit's fucked. So, you know what I did? Well, what I hold right here, passports, British passport, which is useless anymore. Got my Australian passport, which, yeah, I can live in Australia. Great. Can I buy a house? Can I buy a piece of land? You know, in parts of Europe, you could buy acres of land, an hour or two drive from the beach, and you can almost do whatever you want with it. I looked up some land here, and you know what? I was like, okay, there's some land for sale. It's 10 or 20 grand in the middle of fucking nowhere, 12 hours away. And then you look at the details, and it says you need to build a house on this within 36 months. Too code. You know, you can't build the house yourself. If I wanted to, I can't chop down a tree and build my own house. I need building codes, building inspectors, like plumbing inspectors, electricians, red freaking tape everywhere. These people that I don't even like. Some people that stole some money from me a long time ago, thousands of dollars, and they fucked off overseas. And you know what they did? They bought a piece of land in Portugal for like 6,000 euro, and acres of land, and they've set up a yoga retreat and a studio. Now, as much as I don't like these people, we can't even do that in Australia. You can't buy a piece of land and do what you want with it. You need approval. You need rules, there's regulations, there's all this red freaking tape. What happened to our country? So, on Tuesday, in a few days' time, I have an appointment to get my Croatian citizenship, which will lead to my Croatian passport. And that will give me the ability to live in Europe again. And you know what? When that comes through, maybe not now, maybe in 2 or 3, maybe 5 years' time, I will leave again. I mean, I'm going to leave before that. I love to travel. This is car travels. I travel all the time, regardless of the fact that I'm back again, regardless of the fact that I have a job. And you know why I have a job? Because the world is so goddamn expensive, and I couldn't do it without it. I mean, yes, we all need to work, but this 6-figure salary job still makes it hard to live. Because, well, 1, let's face the fact, I'm single. And 2, the world is hard if you're a single man, or a single woman, or a single person who has maybe had to start their life again because they chose to seek a new one.